What is up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Ryan, your DIY guy. If you're new here, welcome. Go ahead, like and subscribe down below so you can catch all of this exciting DIY content we've got going on. On today's episode, we're bringing you a paving project that we did in Randburg, Johannesburg, and that means we're kicking off with preparation, getting rid of all of this grass to get our levels before we go ahead and pave. Stay tuned. Coming up next on Nail and Screw. With all of the grass and debris now out of the way, we've leveled the area roughly before adding a bunch of river sand. Now the river sand will be a 15 to 20 mil layer that will spread out in the entire space where we're going to be paving. And this is a very important step for the following reasons. One, you're not going to have your paver sitting on dirt, which can subside over time. And second, it can also provide adequate drainage for the area once the rainfall goes through the pavers. And then, of course, you can fine tune it because it's compactable, which is an excellent property. Now you can see we've got a string line that runs from the front all the way to the back at the end of the run. And what we want to do here is get the right elevation of river sand. And fun fact, the thickness of that spirit level is the same thickness as that of the paver, which is about 70 mils. And so you'll know you have enough river sand underneath your string line when the spirit level just touches it. So we wanted the gradient to run away from the house, and same thing on this side. There was too much water pooling up closer to the house, so we added more river sand in that area. The next step is to establish our reference points or our header course. And as you can see, we're using the wall on the right hand side and the existing paving at the top section as our reference points for our header course. This just gives us a starting point for our paving pattern. Speaking of which, there's many different types of paving patterns, and we've gone for a herringbone, or some may even call it a pinwheel design, which is basically 4 full pavers on the outside with 1 half paver in the center. Now on this section here, the header course has not met up to where we've already placed bricks against the house, and so we'll have to move that forward to a line and then fill in the back with a bit of mortar. You could probably cut a few thin pavers, but that'll be quite tedious in getting into those tight-knit corners. Now on this section, which is one of the long runs on each of the side of the house, we're nearing up to the end, and then we're going to be placing a header course just to wrap this section up, but we'll set that in some mortar, which you'll see a bit later on. Now over on the other side of the house, we've completed the paving run about 3/4 of the way, and we're just preparing the landing strip so that we can change the direction of the water flow, because otherwise it will go directly into a brick wall. And because this is part of a body corporate structure, we weren't able to punch through and let the water run out to the street. But here we are just raising the elevation of the river sand so that we can change the course of the water onto the grassed area. A huge thank you to this episode's sponsor, Tube Mastery and Monetization, an online guide to grow and monetize on YouTube that shows you a complete A to Z guide and step-by-step instructions on how you can grow your YouTube channel to make money online. Started by none other than Matt Parr. He is super successful with 9 different YouTube channels, a couple of silver play buttons, and a gold play button for over 1 million followers. If you want to know how to be successful on YouTube, go and click the link down in the description box so you can get started. But now, let's get back to the video. With most of our paving having gone down, we can turn our attention to all of our half pavers, which we need to cut in half. And in order to do that, we're measuring out the length of the pavers, which is 200 millimeters, and finding the center, which is 100 millimeters. But we also have to factor in the thickness of the grinding wheel or kerf, as well as the gaps in between the surrounding pavers. Now, hey, if you don't know what the kerf is, go and check out our full in-depth tool review on this Makita grinder using the links in the description below or the pop-up banner at the top. But for now, let's get back to cutting. Here's a quick pro tip. When you are doing your own DIY project, factor in the time it'll take for cutting. We usually allocate a full day for cutting and wrap up because it does take a lot of time. You've got to measure out, you've got to measure the angles, you've got to make sure you've cut it to the right size, the right length, etc. So factor in that time when you're doing your own DIY project so you're not pressed for time in the end. Now, when it comes to the actual cutting, you want to ease into it. You don't want to, turn the machine on and just go for it. You want to score the brick paver first so that you get a line that you can follow and obviously to match up with the marks that you've just made. And then let the machine do the work. It's got a diamond tip blade, so it'll ease through it as well. And then we've raised it up so that we don't affect any pavers underneath, and obviously just a foot on it to keep it stable. Now, as we wrap up the paving project, we secure each of the edges with a bit of concrete. This is called haunching, which just secures that the end pavers don't move, considering that they don't have anything else holding them back. And what you want to do is place the concrete slightly below the paver so that you can still have some soil or grass growing up to that edge, but obviously won't be able to penetrate and affect your paving as well. Then any of the gaps on the surrounding edges, we also filled that up with some mortar so that any water can run off from this landing onto the grass. We finally wrap up this project with the last step, which is a sand and cement mixture, which we broomed on dry at first and then hosed off to clean the area finally. And this section will receive similar TLC, but fortunately there'll be no more muddy puddles in this area anymore, and the homeowner was well pleased with that result. But hey, let us know in the comment section if you found a ton of value in this video. Go ahead, like and subscribe because it helps us grow tremendously and it's free. And let us know if you enjoy this pattern or if you choose something differently. But until next time, we'll see you on Nail and Screw.